Ekiti State Governor Biodun Oyebanji has granted the prerogative of mercy to no fewer than 31 convicted inmates in the state. The Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Tayo Apata-San, who addressed journalists in Ado-Ekiti, the state's capital, on Thursday, said the governor's approval follows the recommendations of the State Advisory Council on the prerogative of mercy. He noted that the decision, which is part of measures aimed at decongesting the state's correctional service, was made by the governor in line with Section 212 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Apata added that the Advisory Council received about 453 applicants from inmates on death row and others serving various terms of imprisonment from the Nigerian Correctional Service in the state and beyond. The commissioner, while giving the breakdown of the 31 released inmates, revealed that 2 were granted full pardon, 5 on death sentences had their sentences commuted to life imprisonment, and 2 death sentences were commuted to terms of imprisonment. According to him, 4 inmates serving imprisonment had their sentences commuted to 5 years and 10 years respectively, while 18 inmates who had less than 6 months left on their sentences were to be released immediately. The council reviewed all cases of inmates forwarded to it for consideration, and after painstakingly considering all the representations made, the council, in its meeting held on the 6th of March 2025, identified 453 inmates who had been adjudged to be of good conduct and would contribute to society if considered for the prerogative of mercy. The commissioner commended Governor Oyebanji for approving clemency for the inmates, saying, "We sincerely hope that the pardoned inmates will take this opportunity to do better in life and become more useful in the society." Do you think this measure was actually the right thing to do? Looking at most of the term that was put on this inmate, some had death sentences, life imprisonment, and we know that according to the law that the trial you have, it's equivalent to the crime you committed. Yeah, so let's look at that most of them actually committed high crime offenses, and now they have been released on prerogative mercy. Do you think this was actually the right step to take by the governor of Ekiti State?
Okay, when I read through this story, I had reason to have double thought, and I looked at it on both sides and from both ends.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, actually, every human deserve have right to life and should live. But then, if the society, any society that is without a check and laws, will be likened onto a road network without traffic signs. So where, I could be driving on reverse and the other person could be driving towards me, and then no one knows his lane. Everyone drives the way you just want to drive. You just, recklessly on the road. You could imagine what would happen to our road. That's what it means. The society has been so organized in such a manner that if you are deviant or if you commit a particular crime, you are arrested, you are investigated, you're charged to court and all the processes, and then you are found guilty by the right law and right measures, and you'll be sentenced accordingly.
Okay.
Let me begin with the people who have been sentenced to death. What is the man who had been, or the woman who had been sentenced to death still doing in the correctional center? Is it that the judgment sentence state that it should be allowed to stay for XY period of time before execution? I thought when the judgment is granted or pronounced, what should happen is the implementation of the judgment. So how do you now keep these people to constitute the crowd that necessitates decongestion? Something should have happened to bring about overcrowding of the correctional center. That means something is wrong at the correctional center. the people who are due to be executed are still kept there. For what reason? For what reason? The people in charge of the correctional center and the judicial arm of government also would need to tell Nigerians why the delay in implementing pronouncements, court pronouncements. I will need to know, or we would need to know, Nigerians need to be educated where we are not properly enlightened. Let's know why those who have been on death sentence are still kept and that are causing overcrowdedness in the correctional center. If that is, if there is no answer to that, then they have no business waiting for clemency or pardon from, or mercy from the government, as it were. So that is an issue to be discussed or to be looked into. If you have been on death sentence, please put that, and let's have some space for the other people that are coming.
Okay.
Now, because the implication is, if the person who is on death sentence has been committed to a life imprisonment, there are chances that in no time from now, another governor will come in, or another opportunity when they are now looking at those who have some remorsefulness, or those who have haven't been in for life imprisonment for just a number of years, you can now be granted pardon. Then the person moves from death sentence to life imprisonment, and from life imprisonment to maybe 5 years imprisonment, and from 5 years imprisonment to please, you are now free to go. What happens when the person comes back, and what happens to the victim that or the crime that was committed that actually led that person to being incarcerated or being arrested? These are the areas we need to look at. However, the other side is the correctional center is being congested. That's because government may not have remembered that there should be need for expansion, remodeling, rebuilding, reconstruction of the correctional center. Some of the correctional centers that were built some 40, 30 years ago, they are still like that. The way they were built, as it was in the beginning, so shall it be, what without end. I don't understand. I don't understand. You get to some of these correctional centers. Now, so when we hear issues of jailbreak, I'll be wondering, why would there not be jailbreak? When the building itself, itself has overstayed the duration that any normal project or any other building or structure should stay. And so the pressure that will be exerted on such a structure wouldn't be much. It's very easy to cause a jailbreak. So is it an intentional act to get some persons out, perhaps to use them for some political gain, perhaps to use them for personal reason? You can, I can arrange where you're staying is still very, you can break, because that building has been there for like 40 years, just a little strength, and then you are out of it. We can make all of this possible. By the time you come out, this is what XYZ you're going to be doing for us. The Nigerian government needs to sit up. I return back to the government once again. They need to sit back and look at our security architecture. This also goes back to security issue.
Yes.
Because if a suspect who is now convicted, then the person is released on issues that are not very clear to us, the possibility of those inmates getting back to society to commit more crime is high. Thank you.
Thank you so much in that. Well, to continue from that last statement, the last line of the possibility of the inmates going back to commit crime is really high. Let's look at what are the measures that has been put in place? Because these inmates we know how the Nigerian Correctional Center is. We know if you've been to the prison, the emotional trauma, the whole new life. I saw a particular video of this individual in the bus that was just happy. He was elated, he was excited, he was just overwhelmed, he was just over it, because he said he just got released from the prison, and he was just thankful to the lawyer that aided the release and whatnot, so you can just feel the happiness, you can just feel the relief from that individual that finally I am out of this dungeon, I am out of this pain. It's more like you were just sent into a death exile, just go there and perish. If we look back into the way the correctional centers in Nigeria it's really nothing to write home about. And most of these individuals, like you stated, due to the kind of crime they have committed, imagine someone that, like the Timin Alaye situation, is still pending. Let's say to an extent, the law rightfully gets to hold him down, and then he's put on a death sentence, and the same issue comes up and it reduces to life imprisonment, like you stated, the 5 years, and then he gets released back into the society without a mental reform, without any measure to rehabilitate him. This inmates, what are the measures that has been put in place to rehabilitate them before leaving them back into the society? This is one out of the many governors that have come to say we are releasing inmates in order to decongest the correctional center. But what have you put in place in order to make sure that this crime does not repeat itself? Because if you look, there's some of these prisoners that we notice that the perspective, someone will say he's a regular visitor at the prison because he gets released, goes back to the crime, gets arrested again, because these measures have not been put in place. I just want to get your thoughts on that, please.
Okay, I agreed. Some persons who finally get jail term and are incarcerated, some of them, research has shown that they are committed to this for crime they know absolutely nothing about. Some people suffer unjustly.
Yes.
Some is because they do not have money to become the highest bidder in the judiciary,
True.
Unfortunately. Some people get justice because of the amount of money they can offer. Some get to pay with their lives because they can't afford a good lawyer and can't prove their case. All of this put together, I want to challenge the government, whatever happens. In all of the mercy that have been granted and the pardon that have been granted, beginning from federal to states, I would like to ask if anyone has seen any reformed ex-convict who, as a result of government intervention on the life of that person, perhaps while in the correctional center, the person is now out back to the society. Yes, I agree that there will be social stigma.
Sure.
And all of that. But success has so many brothers and relations. So the moment you start succeeding because you are now a better person,
Sure.
you can be known in the society. Mr. SYZ from so states was the former inmate in so prison that was granted pardon, courtesy of the government, but through rehabilitation and reform, this person is now the so thing. And because of this is what he is now giving back to the society. I think that would help Nigerians gain the confidence and understand that this pardon is not to the negative side of the society.
Yes.
But it has some positives because they actually go there and they are reformed and then they come back, they become better people, and then they give back to society. They help. They can be leading icons for certain advocacy against crime. The government can put them back through the orientation agencies, national orientation agencies, and other ministries that are saddled with the responsibility of social welfare to bring these individuals out, get them, if they're actually reformed, give them opportunity and a platform to talk back to the society and present themselves as a life example of who has been into crime. And today you are out. Like we had in the days of the amnesty. We had people who were part of the militant groups. Then during the disarmament and the amnesty program, some persons were taken and then they laid down their arms. The government took them in and did a reform. Today, some of them are leading peace advocacy groups. Most of them are doing these things, and they are proud to say, I was a former militant head. Even in River State, in the Niger Delta, you have people like that today who are used to be former militant leaders. Today, this is that's what we're expecting. Now, we're expecting that those who were committed for one crime or the other back then, and if the government have actually done the needful, rather than maybe just trying to present a picture that is not existing in reality, and then they now bring out people, and then you now tell us that there was some kind of mercy or clemency to them. And what we see, they form a bank of hirelings that can be fished or taken by those who want to perpetrate more crime. When you see that there's any protest, when you see that it gets to electioneering period, campaign period, or period where people need to launch an attack on an opponent, if you try to make an investigation, you will discover that the people who are used are the former or ex-convicts. This is what they come back to do. They are ripe tools in the hands of this crime perpetrator, these sponsors, high-class personalities in the country. They go back and fish them. How and where do they know them that they were staying? As you come back from the prison, they go back and lodge in one dungeon and create a camp for themselves and stay there waiting for who will come and patronize them for more evil. And so they pardon. We have a long way to go on this issue of pardon reform, social reform, and correction, as it were. Thank you.
Thank you so much.